Before I start, thank you again to JC and Amanda for organizing this, and our lovely host for emceeing, and also to my fellow panelists for sharing this time and space. So, like many educators preparing for the academic year, I wrestled with how to treat AI's looming presence in the classroom. Would a statement on AI in my syllabus be enough to ward off any potential generative AI use, or should I have an explicit conversation with students about ChatGPT's presence? Or would I even dare go so far as to teach them how to use it? Last fall, I decided to take the latter approach in my English 215 course, not only having conversations about the value of ChatGPT with students, but also showing them how I would personally make use of it for our course's research project. As of this presentation, I carry out roughly 3 AI-related activities during the semester-long course, and in the interest of time, I'll summarize the 3 activities but focus primarily on the second one that I do, including how I implemented student responses and my takeaways and future revisions that I would make. So English 215, titled Critical Thinking About Research Writing, fulfills the GE Critical Thinking, or A3, basic skills and information competence, or IC, requirements. English 215 includes a course objective specifically targeting the use of information technologies in support of writing tasks. The class brings in all majors, about 50 of whom are sophomores and about 35% of whom are second semester freshmen. Among the various courses I teach, English 215 is the most writing and research intensive, so generative AI's impact, much like the impact of its older sibling, I guess, plagiarism, would be the most prevalent or tempting within this course. So English 215 became my prime space for establishing and experimenting with an AI-friendly classroom. My activities function with 2 primary goals in mind. Number 1, to introduce students to ChatGPT's value as a brainstorming partner, along with popular, albeit academically taboo tools such as Google and Wikipedia. And number 2, to teach students ethical uses of digital tools through the process of critique and comparison. I begin the semester with an opening in-class research activity, I'll just call this Activity 1, that asks students to work in groups and carry out their typical research process to find information about AI. This is literally the day 1 activity. Motivated by James Lang's article called How to Teach a Good First Day of Class, published in the Chronicle of Higher Education, I purposely leave this activity as open-ended and flexible as possible to allow room for curiosity, conversation, and collaborative learning. The activity is most concerned with understanding how students typically approach finding information, what kind of information they are looking for, and what types of sources they trust. This sets the stage for the next 4 or 5 weeks of class, during which we practice finding, evaluating, and reporting on the credibility of sources at very great length and detail. For the remaining 10 weeks of the semester, students develop an extensive research project on an education research topic of their choice, and the class culminates with a substantial research paper of roughly 10 pages, utilizing at least 8 to 10-ish sources in the form of a problem solution argument. At the beginning of the research project process, I assign a homework assignment, activity number 2, during which students actively use ChatGPT and compare their writing and ideas with the bots. Ooh, sorry. This is the activity I'll be discussing in greater detail. And finally, activity number 3, I'll call it, to facilitate students' transition from research to persuasive argument, I demonstrate how I would use ChatGPT to come up with a list of solutions by pulling the bot up on the projector and showing how I would dialogue with the actual bot, as it were. Within this demo, students further observe the process of ideation and are encouraged to similarly work towards their own solutions, hopefully creatively. I also ask students to cite and disclose their use of AI in their final submissions, just in general, as we would do with any research. So focusing now on my second activity, my homework assignment is currently called Chatting with a Chatbot. for lack of a better title, and is deeply indebted to Dr. Emily Pitts Donahoe of the University of Mississippi. Donahoe's Twitter thread in February 2023 details her activities and conversations in her first year writing classroom, which models for me the possibilities of critically thinking about research and writing in this age of AI. Students begin in my class by reading Will Douglas Heaven's article in MIT Technology Review called ChatGPT is Going to Change Education, Not Destroy It, which students read and collaboratively annotate in Canvas's hypothesis tool. For the writing portion of my chatting assignment, students are presented with a series of 6 steps, which is summarized here. I also put it in a document if you'd like to take a look and scan the QR code. So the 6 steps briefly are free writing and researching a topic of their choosing, dialoguing with ChatGPT to see its response on the same topic, asking ChatGPT to provide supporting sources and resources, and then comparing their own writing with the bots. Students are asked to evaluate and reflect on aspects of both their writing and the bot's writing, such as clarity, creativity, depth, emotional intelligence, bias and objectivity, and trustworthiness, all of which are actually aspects I devised initially with the help of ChatGPT. So for anyone, again, who's interested, I have the full written out questions in that Google Doc that I QR coded. This assignment is set up as a Canvas quiz so that students carry out one step at a time. And in the question prompts, I also provide 15-minute timers so that students sort of stay on task but also don't spend too much time on any one task. The following summarized comments are the most common insights and conclusions that students reach at the end of the activity, and this is from a total of 67 submissions so far that were collected during this academic year, and all of whom gave me permission to share their responses. Of the writing that the bot produces, students describe the responses as surface level and general, though clear and straightforward. As one student explained, ChatGPT's response, quote, is similar to what you would find on a summary page, end quote. ChatGPT provides basic information about the topic, unless prompted to clarify or expand, which usually requires some finessing or further back and forth with the bot on the user's end. Many students remarked that the bot's responses lacked emotion and personality, with one student humorously calling its writing vanilla. In comparison, students noticed that their own writing shows empathy, emotion, perspective, and experience with the topic in particular. Regarding the bot's ability to support its information, students were mostly disappointed by the results. Very few students were actually able to get ChatGPT to output specific and verifiable sources and articles, at least in the fall, primarily, with the bot instead, quote, claiming that its list is composed of general knowledge and common tips, end quote, or principles. And depending on the topic, ChatGPT could at times recommend resources, books, and websites to look at for further context, but many students perhaps felt dissatisfied not being able to immediately access that information anyway. So this outputting of lists and titles without details or specifics makes ChatGPT's responses almost akin to like a search engine result list anyway, such that students would need to continue the process from there, which is, of course, the focus of 215. In some cases, students receive suggestions and information from the bot that they already found, so in a way, ChatGPT was helping to verify the research that they had already done. Many students concluded that ChatGPT could provide a valuable starting place, especially if stuck. So most insightful of the reflections were that ChatGPT is useful, quote, to get a general idea of what to write about your topic or to organize your thoughts, to help you find a topic or start searching for sources, and to learn and develop critical thinking skills because you have to verify the information that the AI is providing, end quote. Many students I talk to don't know where or how to begin their research projects, so ChatGPT thus offers a brainstorming technique that could potentially jolt them out of their writer's block. And I also share with students that in my own frequent use of ChatGPT, I find that its responses help me realize what I don't actually want to do. So in other words, I'll ask it for its ideas and things like how it would structure an activity or a presentation such as this. And because of the response to me, I end up going in completely different directions because I actually don't like the suggestions it's giving me. That students come to these conclusions or have been coming to these conclusions on their own through such an activity is more than encouraging for me. And indeed, this is the type of critical thinking that English 215 aims towards. Moving forward, I want to devote in-class time to have follow-up conversations about students' reactions to and experiences with ChatGPT. I think this is the most weakest point of how I'm doing the activity so far, that I don't have enough time to actually follow up in class with the students about how they felt, what it was like chatting with the bot and all of that. I also hope to budget more in-class time for us to experiment with generative AI tools in pairs or small groups, and in particular, I'm inspired by one student's suggestion to actually use ChatGPT as a simulation for debate and conversation in ways that can strengthen their argument and writing skills in general. As well, I plan to discuss more extensively the issues surrounding AI attribution, citation, and disclosure. So regrettably, I cannot confidently say that any of my activities have actually curbed the use of AI. And in fact, this semester I've gotten about 20 documents so far flagged as heavily AI-generated text, many scoring about 60 to 70, if not more, percent on Turnitin's measurements. However, anecdotally speaking, in almost all of these AI cases, students admit to using Grammarly's newest tools, which I didn't realize until about 2 weeks ago, but they have a text and paragraph generator in which you have bullet points that you can just give them, sort of flash ideas, and it will actually generate an entire paragraph or more for you. So these cases have also mostly been in my non-215 classes as well, in which we do not have or have time for extensive conversations about AI. Somewhat ironically, perhaps, too, the number of plagiarism-specific cases, as detected by Turnitin, has decreased tremendously in most of my writing-heavy classes and research-heavy classes. Again, anecdotally speaking. As Donahoe emphasizes in her tweets, quote, when you engage students in real conversations about AI use and give them worthwhile conversations and assignments, they're much less likely to do so using AI, end quote. So with Donahoe's claim and Grammarly's emerging tools in mind, I am especially determined to educate students about the use of Grammarly specifically and to expand this AI-friendly dialogue into more of my classes and courses in the future. Students frequently remark that the class is the first in which they've had explicit conversations and activities regarding generative AI, and so I recognize that I am, in a way, opening an academic Pandora's box. Yet, as many of us in academia, as much as we might swear off using tools and sites such as Wikipedia and Google and ChatGPT, many of us also actually openly utilize it in our processes. I do, anyway. So, couple this with a handful of Pew Research studies conducted since 2007, which have found that 50% of those with a college degree, in fact, consult Wikipedia. Upwards of 94% of students are very likely to use Google, 75% Wikipedia to do research, whatever do research means, in air quotes, closely followed by sites like YouTube and other social media platforms, and 1 out of 5 teens use ChatGPT already to assist with their schoolwork, a probability that increases with higher grade levels. If these pre-pandemic statistics are any indication of the then increasing trends towards our society's digital dependence, then are being jostled right into the heart of the internet and online spaces since 2020 has no doubt amplified these numbers. I thus view generative AI in the same light. That is to say, if the tools are already available and accessible to us and to our students, then we can at least model for them how they can effectively and responsibly use them too. I believe that by inviting students to engage in conversation with each other about AI tools and to literally chat with ChatGPT and with me about these tools, students will emerge as independent scholars who can think critically through their research and writing skills and tasks, and who can also become empowered to understand how to harness the power of our ever-emerging digital tools. Thank you so much.